People say that we have the freedom of speech to post up whatever we want to on YouTube and advertise what we want on TV too. But lately, there's been some bad cases behind some of those clips and shows that have been hurting people. In the following pictures, you will see why these clips are bad for TV and YouTube. You're going to need to pay close attention to each picture so that you can see why these clips are hurtful to people. You're going to need to pay heed to what's wrong with these clips so that you can envision how they're hurting you. It talks about what happens when you do unto others what you don't want to be done to you. It talks about how such freedom of speech is dangerous. Example 1. This game is wrong to be offered to people. It's contrary to making an agreement with people, and it's causing damage to lots of property. That's why the world has all agreed to put an end to war as former President Barack Obama had planned. All wars are on account of expecting somebody to act right without acting right yourself. Mostly from America, we're sending troops over to those poor countries to expect them to act right while we're not acting right here in the United States. Playing games like these pose you as a person who really doesn't care about life on Earth. It makes you look like you really hate people even when you don't. Former President Barack Obama went through all of the trouble to help to stop wars and sending troops to other countries for the safety and health of us all. This game will make him very sad, and he'll probably start crying because of all that work he did for us had gone down the drain. Example 2. This game is also wrong to be offered to people. It's bad for your computer system to be playing games like these on your computer or Game Boy toy. On the big arcade games, you can break those very easily too, as well as get distracted from being near your friends and relatives who really care for you. Every computer that gets damaged by playing games like these damages are important needs for the computer. Neurophysiology by 100 revolves around the use of computers so that it'll be possible to program abilities into people that they didn't get genetic-wise when they were born. We need that in order for more students to succeed in school and to be able to obtain any kind of employment. The holiday season by 100% revolves around the use of those computers so that we'll be able to access friends and relatives and be able to connect to the Santa Claus Intel system. It's the only way that children will ever be able to get their yearly earnings worth of gifts. Without the computer system, we'd be back to the chimney belief limiting the yearly earnings worth to only 8 to 12 kids. Computers have certainly made many jobs easier to do, and everybody will be back to doing everything by hand with lots of lost time. If you want to advertise games, try doing it with some educational trivia games that are set up to help you succeed in school, especially with the tests. Or maybe advertise Lumosity, because those games train your brain to function right. The Lumosity system was made out for people of disability currently undergoing neurophysiology in the third phase of mental therapy. They just got an installation of an artificial ability to do something through a computer program and will need those games in mental therapy. In another clip, it'll talk about some of their games in need of repair as you see them. Example 3. Whenever alcoholic beverages are advertised on TV and YouTube, it denies drunk driving, lame behavior, aggressive behavior, litter in the world, poisoning innocent animals, and most of all, severe disability. This person you see in a wheelchair is 100% helpless with sleeping all the time and only being pushed in a wheelchair to go everywhere. Their bawling out loud has made people feel uncomfortable being around children who do it. Some of them have helpless drooling disorders which imbue people's disgust responses. Helpless drooling is liable to cause people to have a hydroallergic reaction. Those consist of somebody passing out on the floor, breathing very shallow and fast with a dangerously high heart rate. Failing to treat a person with that kind of situation can be fatal. People like them live in diapers all of their lives, which means the yucky looks of people consistently changing their diapers. That has made a lot of people very uncomfortable with seeing a diaper get changed even on babies. There are hundreds of fetal alcohol effects in the world, such as talking like a baby all the time, consistently having medical disorders, and other situations. If you advertise the joy of an alcoholic beverage or an alcohol brewery, you're talking about the pleasure of severe disabilities and litter in the world too. Example 4. Whenever medicine of any kind is advertised on TV and YouTube, it denies drug abuse and damages people who are drug free. This person that you see lying down in this hospital bed has most likely ended up there because of drug abuse or sampling some medicine. Advertising medicine on TV and YouTube also steals away from the job of the pharmacist, in which they never advertise medicine on TV or YouTube. Pharmacy jobs coincide with doctors that people go to see, and if they're advertised on TV or on YouTube, it practically isn't true at all. To replace the medicine ads on TV and YouTube, they should be showing the full and real photographed human body displayed in the real outdoors, such as a campground, a wash tub, outdoor shower pool, outdoor bathtub, garden hose shower, the greenhouse, in the top of the canyon, running through the sprinklers, at a swimming pool, at a miniature pool, at a hot tub, on water slides, in a lake, on a sailboat, water skiing, running in the grassland, on the beach, playing in the mud, playing in a muddy water ditch, eating messy foods, finger painting, doing yoga, at some outdoor espresso stands, and in the forest. After all, the looks of the full and photographed human body is the real and natural medicine for keeping you healthy above thick liquids and tablets. The ad, when it's shown on TV, will show up as a blank screen with a heading of full and photographed human body image advertisement on it, and under the heading it says press mute to view it. For YouTube it would say click screen center to view it. It even comes with a countdown number so that you'll know how long your opportunity to see it will be. None of these clips consist of girly and erotic material because that's responsible for the child pornography in the world. Example 5. Whenever you talk about childhood cancer on TV or YouTube, you need to also talk about chemical spills and hazardous waste-related pollution. Recent studies have shown that up to 90% of the cancer in the world is caused by improperly disposed waste chemicals. That's been happening in lots of ways as follows. 1. People pouring waste chemicals down storm drains. 2. Water pollution. 3. Spilled chemicals on the streets. 4. Barrels of toxic waste buried under some ground. 5. Coal experts for generating electricity, followed by causing acid rain. And 6. Landfills, etc. Most of the people who do these things have lame personalities, meaning that they don't care about the planet. People with lame attitudes have the type 3 HIV in their bloodstream and will need to be electrically shocked. Watch Ghost Rider on YouTube about Over a Barrel, and you'll see what I mean by improper waste chemical disposal being related to childhood cancer. Try even talking about how factories are powered and power plants are being providing through garbage, and waste chemicals are being sent into their incinerators to be burned to ash. It really works a lot better than we think. Example 6. Whenever you discuss carrying a dead person out to a mortician, you mustn't do it with a young girl. Young girls and other female primates are a big part of the world because they make the world very pretty, and to ensure that a species of the planet is healthy and worth keeping. Girls and other female primates are heaven's work of art, and it would make God very mad every time even one young girl or young female primate dies. Showing a dead young girl in a clip means people don't believe in women, which don't believe in reproduction, which don't believe in the human race. Example 7. Whenever you discuss a death care procedure, you mustn't do it with a young girl. Just like you making a masterpiece with art, usually with the kind of painting pattern that nobody else can do. The same thing is true when God and heaven are working very hard to create and give us young girls and other young female primates. Showing a young girl dying is like showing the damage of somebody's masterpiece that they worked hard to create. Every damaged masterpiece makes people very mad, and then they'll want to get revenge on whoever did it. It's the same with God and heaven getting mad at us with tornadoes and hurricanes and wildfires destroying property. We've found the way to stop serial killing through resolving girly and sexuality material through neurophysiology, where the technicians provide artificial discipline against nudism into people who don't have enough of it to use nudity the proper way to anywhere between 80% and 99%. We found the way to stop silent killers through discovering more types of the HIV and from people who are evil or snotty or lame. We went through a lot of trouble and strive to make sure that young girls and other young female primates were living to grow into women. And so by demonstrating a death care procedure with a young girl, you're just laming off all the trouble that we went through to help to keep girls in the world as God and heaven worked very hard to create for us. In fact, this clip needs to be redone demonstrating an elderly person dying, and we need to outlaw the use of young girls being demonstrated for a death care procedure on TV and YouTube. Example 8. Should you ever want to show a clip of in memory of a child or girl who died, you really need to talk about how they died too, even if it seems too sensitive to talk about. If it pertains to serial killing, you ought to talk about how it's all on account of people's obsession with girly and sexuality material. If it pertains to a weapon episode, you ought to talk about how at least 90% of it is on account of impatient parenting that raised that weapon abuser. If it pertains to a fatality due to drinking and driving, you ought to talk about how advertisement for alcoholic beverages and breweries are responsible for it. If it was ordinary carelessness, you ought to raise awareness to stop sarcastic entertainment from TV shows. If it pertains to childhood cancer, you ought to advertise on how at least 95% of it pertains to improper disposal with waste chemicals and waste chemical spills and pollution. If it pertains to a silent killer of any kind, you ought to talk about how the type 3 HIV lives inside of people who are evil or snotty or lame, and how it gets into our food supplies, and how such a person is stopped through being electrically shocked at the hospital, tripping over electrical wires without seeing them, even if such a person ends up dying from it. Example 9. Whenever you show a house being demolished on TV or YouTube, why it hurts the viewer's feelings is because they might have lost their home to a flood or wildfire or hurricane or tornado or earthquake. Nobody likes to be reminded of even one of those losses, and you're showing no respect for people's drastic losses. It's already bad enough that somebody lost good shelter through any one of those 5 disasters, and it's being disrespectful to people's loss when you do that. The looks of a shelter being destroyed and demolished looks grieving, you know. If you really want to show something good about moving house, try showing it with being moved by a helicopter. It really works, just like you see on TV. Most of the houses aren't relocated very far from where they were at before. In Salt Lake County, the houses near 54th South Avenue and Bangor Expressway were airlifted from there to West Jordan's new place near 78th South Avenue and 48th Street. Also in South Jordan and Salt Lake County, the houses near 106th South Avenue and Bangor Expressway were airlifted from there to Harriman's new place on 56th West Street, just north of Harriman Parkway. Example number 10. Whenever you show a person swimming in their clothes on TV or YouTube, why it hurts the viewer's feelings is because they might have lost a friend or relative of theirs to a drowning. Nobody likes to be reminded of their loved one who drowned in any body of water, and you're showing no respect for people's loss of their loved ones. Even if a friend or relative of yours survived a drowning, it still hurts to see somebody swimming in their clothes, because the majority of those people who've drowned in bodies of water were still wearing their clothes. People may have the constitutional right to swim in their clothes if they want to, but it's wrong to record a person doing that and then posting them up on YouTube or TV. If you think you want to record a person swimming in any body of water, you need to only do it if that person is wearing either their swimsuit or just simply their birthday suit. Example 11. Whenever you show that good-for-nothing Sesame Street clip on TV and YouTube, you're showing how those nasty birds were accusing Cookie Monster of asking them personal questions. Such behavior from those birds is unadaptable and therefore jailbait for Cookie Monster and other people. The way those birds were talking to Cookie Monster sounded like he was responsible for those birds' double beaks when they knew it could never be. Why people believe that is because it reminds them of the Holocaust and how our Jewish friends and relatives were enticed into those concentration camps. Somebody with hearing or confusion trouble when talking to people isn't capable of heeding that and needs to be posted up on Liberty Mutual as trouble with the law bait. This is why people get defensive whenever you tell them to mind their own business. You'd better think it over if you think that it's freedom of speech to post up even one of these 11 bad clips, because they hurt innocent people. Dare you say it's a free country and I can post them for the public if I want to. Or if you don't like what you see, then don't watch it. You'll get a belt from the FBI, the CIA, the BBC, and the FAA, and the United Nations. That'll be followed by a person placing a burning cross in front of your house and being deleted from the Reference USA system with no employment at all.